I
you know,
think a large part of it is because when you have these services which are designed to take up all of Shabbos morning, then people get bored and people
yeah.
aren't as interested in the places where, right, Kiddush clubs are not very prevalent in Israel, for example,
Mhm.
because again, Shabbos morning services go and they're done in a reasonable amount of time and you're done.
Yeah. And by the way, this is predominantly more of a Orthodox phenomenon, right? It's not a Reform, Renewal, Reconstructionist
It is
phenomenon.
definitely, I've definitely heard of Kiddush clubs in the conservative world,
Okay, so conservative,
right?
Orthodox.
Yeah, but remember a lot of other places, like for example, the Reform service, the main service is Friday night. There is a Shabbos morning service, but it's not the main service. There isn't a logical place, and people aren't necessarily looking for Kiddush Club if they're going to a Reform service. And the same thing in the Reconstructionist world. I always I joke with one of my closest colleagues here in Montreal, who's a Reconstructionist rabbi. I've always said, there's no such thing as an off the derech Reconstructionist Jew, right? There are many people that come up to you and say, "Oh, I'm Reform," and I'm like, "You're not Reform. You're assimilated, but you go to a Reform congregation, so you say you're Reform, right?" Or conservative. Also, you sort of have wavering. People who are Reconstructionists are very Reconstructionist, right? For the most part, right? It takes a commitment. It's a very different kind of commitment, but it takes a strong commitment to say that I'm part of a Reconstructionist congregation. Those people don't necessarily feel like they need to sneak out of shul because they want to actively be there. Right, the people that populate a Kiddush club, and with this point we can maybe move on, is the people that feel like they have to go to shul. They want to be in shul, but they resent the fact that on Shabbos morning they are hijacked for an hour and a half extra of their time than it otherwise should take.
Right. I do want to highlight something you just said, but that they're compelled by a certain commitment,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether it's a religious commitment, whether it's a communal commitment, something a mix of those,
Mm-hmm.
but they at least feel a communal responsibility and commitment to coming to shul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's something to be said for that.
Yeah,
Even if
for
they're
sure.
ducking out after
Sure. I think that's why there's an uneasy relationship with them. With people that go to Kiddush clubs, there's, they're in shul. They're often in shul early enough. So very few people show up just for Kiddush club, right? Most people that are at Kiddush club are there at a reasonable hour of the day, and they're davening, and then they duck out for a drink or two.
Yeah.